Have you ever wondered where your donated clothes actually end up? We often feel good about dropping off a bag of old outfits at a thrift store, thinking we're doing our part for the environment and helping others. But the reality for millions of garments is far more complex and, frankly, quite dark. A huge portion of this clothing embarks on a one-way trip to places like Panipat, India, a city that has earned the grim title of the world's textile wasteland. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on this hidden side of the secondhand clothing industry. What happens in Panipat isn't just recycling. It's a story of profound human and environmental costs that we all need to hear. Imagine a city literally drowning in clothes. That's Panipat. It's the global hub for processing textile waste, a place where mountains of discarded garments from all over the world arrive every single day. This isn't about finding a new home for your favorite old sweater. It's an industrial-scale operation designed to break down these textiles into shoddy yarn, a process often called shoddy recycling. The sheer volume is staggering. We're talking about hundreds of tons of fabric flooding into the city daily. This deluge has turned Panipat into a landscape of textile mountains, a visible, stark reminder of our planet's fast fashion addiction. And while it creates an economy, it's an economy built on a very fragile and dangerous foundation. For the people working in Panipat's recycling factories, every day is a battle for breath. Let's talk about the health crisis unfolding there. The process of shredding and processing old clothes releases immense clouds of fine dust, and workers are enveloped in this textile dust for hours on end, often without any protective gear. In an interview with The Guardian, one worker described a persistent hacking cough that just won't go away. He explained that doctors give him medication and he feels better for a while. But as soon as he stops the treatment and returns to the factory floor, the coughing and breathing problems come right back. This isn't just a temporary annoyance. It's a direct path to chronic respiratory illnesses. We're talking about conditions like bronchitis, asthma, and something colloquially known as shoddy fever, a severe lung reaction to inhaling textile particles. The constant exposure to these airborne fibers, which can contain dyes, chemicals, and plastics from the original garments, leads to long-term, irreversible lung damage. These workers, who are simply trying to earn a living, are effectively sacrificing their health, trading their future ability to breathe freely for a meager daily wage. The air they breathe is thick with the ghosts of our forgotten fashion, and the health risks don't stop with the dust. Think about the condition of the clothes that arrive. They're often unwashed, having been discarded and bundled in shipping containers for weeks. This creates a breeding ground for bacteria, mold, and even parasites. Workers sorting through these bales with their bare hands are at a significant risk of skin infections and other contagious diseases. It's a hidden danger that adds another layer of vulnerability to an already hazardous job. The very items we hoped would help someone are, in this context, becoming potential vectors for illness. It's a tragic irony that the act of giving clothes away can contribute to such a harmful environment for the people on the receiving end of the supply chain. Now, let's zoom out from the individual health impacts and look at the broader environmental catastrophe. The term textile wasteland isn't an exaggeration. Panipat is the final resting place for the failures of the fast fashion industry. A significant portion of the clothing that arrives is unusable. It might be made of blended synthetic fibers that are impossible to recycle, or it's simply too low quality to be repurposed. What happens to this material? It gets dumped. It piles up in open landfills, leaching chemicals and microplastics into the soil and groundwater. Some of it is even burned in the open, releasing toxic fumes into the atmosphere, further polluting the air that residents and workers breathe. This creates a vicious cycle. The industry is meant to be a form of recycling, but it generates its own monumental waste problem. The land around Panipat is being choked by our sartorial leftovers. This isn't a sustainable solution. It's a relocation of the waste problem. Wealthier nations get to clean up their closets and feel virtuous, while communities in places like Panipat are left to deal with the literal and environmental fallout. The global north consumes, and the global south becomes the dumping ground. This system perpetuates a massive environmental injustice, where the consequences of our overconsumption are outsourced to communities with fewer resources to manage them. The social fabric of Panipat is also stretched to its breaking point. The influx of textile waste has created a massive informal labor market. While this provides jobs, the working conditions are often abysmal. Workers, many of whom are migrant laborers, face long hours, low pay, and a complete lack of safety regulations. Child labor, though illegal, is also a reported issue in some of the smaller, unregulated workshops. These are not the well-paying green jobs we might imagine when we think of recycling. This is grueling, dangerous work that traps people in a cycle of poverty and poor health. The sheer scale of the operation puts immense pressure on the city's infrastructure, its water, its land, its air. It transforms a community into a single-purpose industrial zone where the primary function is to process the world's garbage. The global fashion industry, with its relentless cycle of new trends and cheap clothing, is the engine driving this entire system. Our desire for a $5 t-shirt has a direct, tangible, and devastating impact on the lives and environment of people thousands of miles away. It's a connection we rarely see, but one that is undeniably real. So, what can we possibly do? It feels overwhelming, but the first step is awareness. Understanding that your donated clothes may not end up on the back of someone in your local community, but rather in a dusty factory in Panipat, changes the equation. It forces us to rethink our relationship with clothing. The most impactful thing we can do is simply consume less. Buy fewer items, choose higher quality pieces that will last longer, and wear what you already own. When you do need to get rid of clothes, try to find direct rehoming options. First give them to friends, use local swapping apps, or sell them online. Supporting brands that are transparent about their supply chains and committed to ethical production is also crucial. And when we donate, we need to be more mindful. Only donate clean, wearable clothing. Anything torn, stained, or damaged is more likely to be rerouted into this global waste stream. We need to start treating our clothes not as disposable items, but as valuable resources. By shifting our mindset from one of disposability to one of longevity and care, we can begin to slow down the torrent of textiles flowing to places like Panipat. The story of Panipat is a sobering wake-up call. It exposes the uncomfortable truth behind our convenient clothing donations and the true cost of fast fashion. It's a system that burdens the most vulnerable with our waste. But acknowledging this reality is the first step toward creating change. By making more conscious choices, we can help reduce the demand that fuels this harmful cycle. We can vote with our wallets and our habits for a fashion industry that values people and the planet over profit. Thank you so much for watching and for taking the time to learn about this important issue. If this video resonated with you, please give it a thumbs up and share it to help spread the word. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into the stories that shape our world. Let us know your thoughts and ideas in the comments below. See you in the next one!